Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates tonight. We've got a full program for you. We have a lot of things we need to talk about tonight, even from the very beginning to the very end of this program. We hope you're ready for a lot of information, because I'm going to give you a lot of information all over the place, and we will go through it quickly. I will allow anyone who wants to ask any questions to be able to have some answers to their questions. However, there is present threat of tornadoes and a present threat of very strong winds, up to and including 70-mile-per-hour winds in tonight's forecast. Okay? I'm just warning you right now. That's ongoing. It's ongoing as we speak. And I'm not kidding. Okay? We have thunderstorms. We have tornadoes all over the place. Now, just as we talked about last night on this diagram right here. Okay? This is the area where we're having the strongest thunderstorms and the possibility of tornadoes later on this evening. There are tornado watches all over the map. There are tornado watches all over the map. Okay? From Illinois, Indiana, Ohio River Valley, all the way down to western Texas, down into Arkansas and Louisiana, over into Mississippi and even Alabama. Okay, I'm just warning you, all this area, including Tennessee and Kentucky as well. This area is going to be smacked around very hard tonight. I'm just putting that out there for you. Please pay attention. Get all your friends, get all your relatives, your neighbors, your entire family together, and ask them to tune into this broadcast tonight. This is important. Okay? Over in Springfield, Arkansas, for example. Springfield, Arkansas is seeing severe thunderstorm activity right now, along with upward of 70-mile-per-hour winds sucking up dust and dirt from the ground. All over this area. Let me give you a picture of that. I picked up this picture from Fox Weather just a little bit ago. Okay, let me show you a picture of this dust and stuff going on. It's incredible. What we're seeing is totally incredible. I thought I had this all set up. Excuse me for just a second while I bring this shot up for you. Look at this, guys. This is what it looks like out there. Okay? From Texas into Louisiana, Arkansas, and even Missouri, and even southeastern Oklahoma. This is what's going on. Heavy-duty winds, and there are fires associated with some of these winds. Okay? These winds or fires are being driven by these 50 to 70-plus mile-per-hour winds. And this is no joke. People are going to lose their farms, they're going to lose their homes tonight. Okay? Some of you who are seeing this significant dust storm right now, it's being pushed by cool, dry surface-level winds. Eastern Texas into Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. This can turn into a major tornadic event later on this evening. And I'm talking between now and 9 p.m. this evening, and it'll probably be ongoing until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. We're already experiencing tornado watches in Arkansas and Louisiana, and even into Missouri. We all need to be prepared now for a tornado outbreak. Now, I hate using that term. I hate like heck using that term, tornado outbreak, but that's exactly what this is. That's exactly what this is, okay? I'm not pulling anybody's skirt tails. This is bad. This is really bad. This is an example of the forecasted radar outbreak of the thunderstorms happening tonight. If any one of these thunderstorms gets rolling, and they do expect it to happen, if any one of these thunderstorms gets rolling, it's going to be lights out. Okay? The tornadoes are going to be pushed by these heavy-duty surface-level winds that are very strong, and as a result, These winds will keep the tornadoes on the ground, and the tornadoes will be on the ground for a significant amount of time. These tornadoes will be on the ground for a significant amount of time. We're going to see a lot of tornadoes during the next 72 hours. A lot of tornadoes. This will not be good. Okay? Western Kentucky may see strong storms starting about 3 or 4 this morning, in the coming morning, Saturday morning. Oklahoma and Texas and Arkansas are seeing fires raging because of the high winds. This will continue for at least the next few days because the high winds are ongoing. These are surface level high winds. Why? Because our jet stream is upwards of 70 plus miles an hour overhead, which is driving the low surface level winds. Okay? Atlanta, Georgia may also see significant weather along with many other areas along the East Coast coming Saturday evening into Sunday morning. Saturday evening into Sunday morning. And I'm not joking with this. Everyone needs to be aware of it, especially Sunday morning. Here where I live, and I'm talking about weather situations in Georgia, South, North Carolina, and Virginia, and West Virginia. You're going to see these strong level winds, and it's not going to be fun. We may even see tornadic outbreaks early Sunday morning, continuing into late Sunday morning. I'm talking about 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. We need to be ready. We need to be ready for the storm. Severe weather can strike at any time. So everyone in this area, from the central Midwest of the United States all over to the East Coast, should be prepared for any potential weather conditions. Severe weather conditions can lead to property damage, injury, and death. In addition, as a basic emergency plan, individuals should have plans for thunderstorms, hurricanes, tornadoes, and other disaster events. Preparation here is the key. Preparation here is the key for staying safe in a severe weather event. Okay? Please, I want people to be ready. If you're ready, you're not going to be so severely affected as if all of a sudden this crept up on you. This is important. Be aware. Be aware. We've always been saying all along for years, you need to have this, an AM/FM weather radio. An AM/FM weather radio. You need to get this if you don't already have it. Right now, if you don't have it, not good. Right now, if you don't have it, and you have your AM/FM weather radio, tune it into a news talk station. Do not turn it into anything but news talk. If you turn it into a music talk station, you probably will not be notified of any weather events, and that's not good. Turn your radios into a news talk station, a local news talk station in your area. It's very important. TVs, if you're in a severe weather condition, tune your televisions to a local news talk station. That way, if they do news, weather, and sports, you'll get the information. Please do that. This information could save your life. Awareness of alerts and warnings when severe weather is approaching. Make sure your disaster kit that we've been talking about for years is nearby. Make sure your preparedness kit is nearby. Listen to local radio and TV stations for weather updates. Have a battery-operated radio. This is a battery-operated radio. It also has a solar window right here where it can charge via solar. It also has a wind-up capability right here. You can wind it up to provide power for the radio to get the information you need. Okay? Have a battery-operated radio in your house in case the power goes out. A National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Weather Radio will alert you when these severe weather watches and warnings occur. Don't forget to check the backup battery in your weather radio on a regular basis. You will want the radio to work even if there's a power outage. There are a variety of options for receiving weather alerts. A NOAA weather radio like I have shown you here today, okay, will receive those National Weather Service alerts. And in fact, in the event of a national or local emergency in your area, your local authorities can override the weather service and put out emergency weather and national emergency information to you in the event of a localized or national emergency. Local emergency management agencies or county governments may use the local weather warning station. Local and national television stations broadcast weather alerts. As I said, if you don't have your radios available, and even if you do, tune your tune your local or your local television in your home to a news talk station in your area. That way you'll get weather alerts in your home. Radio stations, both AM and FM, are required to broadcast emergency alert system messages. There are a variety of mobile applications that deliver weather alerts directly to your mobile device. I have my mobile device right here next to me. I've already gotten weather alerts about Saturday into Sunday. They've already appeared on my device here and also on my iPad. Well, tablets. I don't have an iPad, I have a tablet. Okay? But these devices will be able to deliver weather alerts or any other kind of emergency alerts to your mobile device. Ready.gov on the internet can pull up information for you. FEMA may have their own applications. Check out FEMA.gov as well. Government agencies can send wireless emergency alerts to your tablets, iPads, and telephones. Okay? They can do that without even using an app or a subscription service. Know the differences between a severe weather watch and a warning. Know the differences between a severe weather watch and a warning. What do I mean? If you have a weather watch right now, just as I'm putting this up right now on your program that you're watching right now with us, this is a weather forecast map of what exactly is going to happen. You can see that severe line of storms there. You can see that severe line of storms. That is what is forecast, and that is what we're following right now. Okay? Know the difference between a watch and a warning. There are many watches out right now. Watch only means that we're looking for very severe weather. A warning means the weather is on the ground and occurring right now. Okay, a warning means it's occurring right now. A watch means it's likely to occur. A watch means there's a potential threat for severe weather to affect the area within the next 6 hours. A warning indicates severe weather is occurring or likely to occur very soon. Severe weather conditions. Write a basic emergency plan. We've been talking about this forever. Write a basic emergency plan of how you're going to respond to any emergency, no matter what it is. Make sure your plan also addresses weather forecasts. Make sure you're ready for anything that's going to happen. These emergency plans can help prepare you for all kinds of weather conditions and other emergencies that you might occur or have to face in your area. It's important to know how to adapt your plan to different situations. Make sure you write that information into your plan. Know how to adapt your plan to certain situations. Thunderstorms before the storm. Remove dead or hazardous trees or branches that could be knocked down. Those people right now, they're in Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, West Virginia, and Virginia. You should be moving dead or hazardous tree branches, or trees even, that could be knocked down by these catastrophic winds. By catastrophic, I'm talking winds up and above 30 to 35 miles an hour. If you see a flag pointing straight out, that means winds are at or above 25 to 30 miles per hour. Anytime you see a flag straight out, that means the winds are at or above 25 to 30 miles per hour. That's bad. Okay? It could get worse, and it will get worse today into Sunday. Okay? Reschedule any outdoor plans. Stay indoors. Stay away from windows and doors as well. Secure anything that you have in your yards. Playground equipment, toys, and other things should be secure either onto the decks or onto the porches or in garages. Don't just leave them out, or they could blow into your neighbor's yard, into their plate glass windows, or into your windows. Okay? Secure anything at all that you have in your yards, on your decks or porches, that they may blow away. When I lived in Colorado, in Littleton, Colorado, it was in southwest part of Denver area, I should say. When I lived in Littleton, I had patio furniture, a beautiful glass table. I had patio chairs as well. I secured them with a dog leash. I bought about a 15 or 20 foot dog leash. I wrapped them around the table. I wrapped that dog leash around the chairs as well. I secured the chairs to the table and to the porch deck. That way they could not be blown around. If you can't do that, bring them indoors. They might be indoors only a short period of time, but it's better be safe than sorry. Secure anything that might be blown around. Okay? During the storm, take shelter in a home, or a building, or a hardtop vehicle. Take shelter in a home, a building, or a hardtop vehicle. Plumbing and bathroom fixtures can conduct electricity, so avoid taking a shower or a bath until after the storm passes. Okay? Plumbing and bathroom fixtures can conduct electricity. Avoid taking a shower or a bath until after the storm passes. Avoid using electrical items like televisions and computers. Yes, you may have them plugged in, but in a place where you are having lightning and thunder, avoid using those items. Turn them off and unplug them from your electricity source in your home. Power surges can cause severe damage. Power surges can cause severe damage. Avoid tall trees. Stay away from underneath the tall trees. If a tall tree gets hit by lightning, you're going to die. If you're underneath a tall tree and get hit by lightning, and guess what? That lightning will hit you as well. Stay out of open fields. Okay? Out of open fields. Isolated structures in open fields. Or anything metal like fences, bicycles, or outdoor equipment. Use an AM/FM weather NOAA radio. NOAA means National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration. Okay? Okay? You heard my AM/FM weather radio was tuned to an FM station I was listening to. Okay? Get this AM/FM NOAA weather radio. You can have one like this for as little as $20. I paid a little bit more for this one, but you can get these for as little as $20. After the storm, what do you do after the storm? Do not try to drive through flooded areas. Yes, because of the heavy rains that are already occurring, you're going to have flooding. Stay off the roads. Stay out of the flooded areas. Why do I say stay off the roads? Because the roads will be covered with debris. Fallen trees and tree limbs and other trash and debris that's being blown about in the wind. Be all over the roadways. Avoid that. Stay home. Avoid areas that have been damaged by the storm. Avoid areas that have been damaged by the storm. Signs down. Things may have been blown off of buildings or homes. Stay away from downed power lines. Stay away from downed power lines and contact your local power company. Now, why do I say that? If you have downed power lines and you have been in the storm, your area's been in the storm, and you have rain, if those downed power lines are already contacting the local wet surface, that wet surface, if the power lines have not been de-energized, those wet surfaces will conduct electricity. If you step into those wet surfaces, you will die. Those wet surfaces in contact with the power lines will conduct the electricity right into your body, and you will be electrocuted. I've seen it happen. Unfortunately, I've seen several people die because they've been electrocuted. Don't do it. Don't even step over the line. Don't even step over the line. Why? Because, folks, the line may arc, the power line may arc up into your body, and that could kill you. Don't do it. Please don't do it. Charlene is here in the chat saying Benton County, Arkansas is under severe thunderstorm event right now. A thunderstorm watch. Black rolling clouds over Sulphur Springs, Arkansas right now. I've had that on radar. I see that on radar right now. Be careful, guys. Be careful. Okay? Those areas are under thunderstorm watches right now, and those watches may turn into warnings. Those thunderstorm watches will turn into warnings. They always do. Now, do you have any questions about what I've said about these thunderstorms that are going to be occurring tonight? I want to make sure I answer all your questions and make sure you have the latest emergency information. Okay? It's going to happen. This whole area right now is under the thunderstorm watch area. Okay? From Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio south into Kentucky, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, and Louisiana. Over east into Tennessee, Mississippi, and some parts of western Alabama. Eastern Alabama up into Atlanta. Tomorrow evening we'll have these storms coming in. Things will continue to change up until tomorrow. And we will be coming back on the air to talk about it tomorrow evening. And Pickering is telling people to be safe, everyone. I agree. We need you here. We need you watching our channel, paying attention to what's going on. Now, there is someone else. There is someone else on the air even right now. He will probably be on the air until at least 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay? Some of you who've been on my channel know who I'm talking about. Okay? He has the latest information. He's great. His name is Ryan Hall, y'all. This gentleman right here. I greatly admire him. Okay? He is a weather forecaster, and he is better than any weather forecaster on any television or radio station. He's got the latest information. He has access to cameras. He has access to crews that are out there on the roads giving the information. Ryan Hall is on the air right now as we speak. After you get through watching our program, tune in your computers or devices to Ryan Hall, Y'all Weather. He's great. Again, I highly admire him, and I'm giving you information that you might use to save your own lives. Ryan Hall has the latest information. He has storm crews out on the road watching what's going on, and they will give you the latest information in those areas. He has crews over in Benton, Arkansas right now. Ryan Hall, y'all, is a great man. He has a lot of great information. I highly advise you to watch what he has to say. It's important. Very important. Okay? Don Patoga, one of my mods here, one of my best friends, says Ryan Hall, y'all, is awesome. He really is. Okay? Hurricane Heather says she's a team Max Velocity. Max Velocity is also very good. Max Velocity is also very, very good. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? I know I've talked a lot about what's going on right now, but I want you to know what is happening. I want to answer your questions so you can know what you're going to do, what you're going to have to face. Okay? I think it's important. Or otherwise I wouldn't even be here. And yes, Demon Catman, one of my best friends here and one of our mods here, has just told us all to like our program tonight. Give us a thumbs up. It helps with the analytical factor that YouTube uses to rate our program, whether they're going to allow anyone to watch our program. That's very important. The other thing is you need to watch our program at least for 20 to 30 minutes, if at all. If you don't watch it, or if you watch it less than that, guess what? You're not going to get the information you need to survive what's going on. Okay, I'm promising you that. Watch this program throughout the entire program. Okay, otherwise it's useless to even tune in. Watch the program throughout our entire program. The longer you watch it, the better. YouTube also looks at the watch time as a rating to analyze whether they are going to allow anyone else to watch this program. Okay, it's important. Also, please make sure you're subscribed to this program. YouTube has unsubscribed 12 people already during the past week and a half. They've unsubscribed at least 12 people in the last 10 days. Check your subscriptions. Make sure you're still subscribed to our channel. Okay? That's important. If you're not subscribed, please resubscribe. Okay? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. And when you do that, there's one other thing you need to do. There's a little bell icon. There's a tiny bell icon there next to the subscription button. Click on that. When you click on that, there will be a drop-down menu of 3 items. Click on the word ALL, all. That should get you notified when we come on the air. We come on the air usually Monday through Friday, sometime between 6 and 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. We do come on the air many other times during the week or even on weekends. If there's something major to talk about, we're here to give you that information. So if you see us on the air and you're getting notified, and you see us on the air, tune into our program. It's because there's something major happen that you all need to know about. Okay? Please know about that. Linda Moses is here in the chat. Thank you for being here, Linda. It's been a while. Linda says, paramedics and firemen saved my life this last week. Pulmonary embolism, aortic strain, pulmonary hypertension. Thanks to all the first responders. A pulmonary embolism is when some kind of blockage or air gets within the pulmonary artery of the heart. It can cause a blockage, not allowing the heart to do its business, and it could kill you. It could end your life. Paramedics saved her. We're so very glad to hear that, Linda. God bless you. God bless you. Linda is a very long-time member of our family here. We appreciate her being here. She's a friend of ours. I'm sorry to hear that you had those problems. That's not fun. That's not fun. And yes, we do hope you heal very soon. Okay? Very important. Thank you. She says firemen broke 2 doors to get into her. That happens. That happens. At least they got in and helped you. That's wonderful. All right. Do you have any other questions about the weather that's going on or the weather that is going to occur? The weather system that we have been seeing right here is going to move eastbound. It is going to move east. Okay? This is the weather system as we see it right now. But the weather system is going to move east. Okay? As it moves east, it'll start moving sometime late tomorrow morning into tomorrow afternoon. We're going to see the storm proceed into Alabama and Georgia. And from that point in time, it's going to continue moving east Saturday night into Sunday. Prepare to see it. It will happen. It will happen. This is a fast-moving storm as well. This is going to be a very fast-moving storm. Now, I want to talk again about something we've talked about over the past even 2 weeks. Campi Flegrei in Italy. Campi Flegrei in Italy. This is in southwestern Italy. Okay? Campi Flegrei near Naples, Italy. Okay? This is a huge area. Why are we getting concerned about Campi Flegrei? This happens to be a volcano, Vesuvius volcano. Vesuvius volcano. Let me show you another slide here. What would happen if Mount Vesuvius erupts today? Look at this area. It's very highly populated. It's urbanized. High density population. What would happen? There's been earthquake swarms for the last 2 months, and even swarms before that. But the earthquake swarms around this supervolcano is raising concerns. Supervolcanoes are among the most monitored geological formations on this earth. Vesuvius here is a supervolcano. We talked about supervolcanoes here in the United States. We've talked about supervolcanoes, or one supervolcano over New Zealand. Supervolcanoes around this world. Okay? Vesuvius volcano is a stratovolcano, a composite stratovolcano, meaning it has the potential for high explosive energy eruptions. High explosive energy eruptions. Even minor changes in their activity can trigger widespread concern, especially in densely populated areas as you see this areas today. In Italy, the recent surge of earthquake activity near Campi Flegrei caldera has scientists and residents on edge. A powerful earthquake system has struck this region near the town of POSSILE and Naples, registering more than 500 tremors in just a few days. Experts say that this is one of the most significant seismic events in the area in the past 4 decades. Unlike shield volcanoes, which produce slow-moving lava flows, stratovolcanoes like Vesuvius can generate violent explosions, launching ash, gas, and molten rock into the sky. The next eruption of Vesuvius would most likely be an explosive eruption of medium-low energy according to Italy's Civil Protection Department. As of now, most of the tremors have been minor. 2 larger earthquakes have reached a magnitude of 3.9, 4.2. 3.0, 3.9 are considered to be small earthquakes. We had a 4.2 the other day here. That is a moderate earthquake. Something to be very concerned about. That means the energy around Campi Flegrei here is getting higher, stronger. This is going to lead, and already has happened, to have school closures, prompting some residents to sleep in their cars out of fear of having a volcano erupt and then having to wake up and immediately drive to a safer location. The question that is in everyone's mind right now. Does this signal an impending eruption? Despite the intense seismic activity, scientists say that this does not necessarily indicate that there will be an imminent eruption. It does not necessarily indicate that there may be a very imminent eruption. Campi Flegrei is the largest active urbanized caldera in the heart of the European continent. It is a 13-kilometer wide caldera. Remember the caldera around eastern Los Angeles? We keep talking about it. We talked about it the other day. Guess what? This is a 13-kilometer wide caldera. The one in eastern Los Angeles is Walnut La Puente. But this is a 13-kilometer wide caldera. Okay? Approximately 7 mile wide. It encompasses part of Naples and extends to the south area beneath the Gulf of POSSILE. Episodes of significant uplift and subsidence. Subsidence is the ground going back down. As the volcano inflates with magma, the magma forces the ground to rise. Subsidence is when the magma is less and less, and then the ground goes back down. It subsides. It's called subsidence. Episodes of significant uplift and subsidence have occurred within the dominantly what they call Triatic caldera. And this has been happening since Roman times. Mount Vesuvius, the volcano, is responsible for the destruction of Pompeii and Herculaneum in AD 79. It remains one of the most dangerous volcanoes in the world. The most recent eruption, marked by low energy effusive and explosive activity. Effusive means it was very viscous. The lava was very viscous. Okay? It was marked by low energy, effusive, and explosive activity. That was in 1944. It killed 21 people. Killed dead 21 people, partially destroying the towns of San Sebastiano and Vesuvio and Massa di Soma. Now, while this event was significant, it was relatively minor compared to earlier eruptions, particularly the catastrophic 1631 eruption, which left Naples covered in ash, and it led to thousands of people dying. Vesuvius is currently in a phase of active rest. They're calling it active rest. Okay? It is being constantly monitored by the Civil Defense Protective People in Italy. Okay? They're monitoring it to detect any significant deviation or variation in its activity. Campi Flegrei, what they call flagrant fields. Flagrant fields. Phlegrean fields. Campi Flegrei has had at least 2 historically documented eruptions. That means it erupts on the average of 414 years. Every 414 years. Bartolome Krasik, a volcanology expert, said that while this swarm that we're having right now at Campi Flegrei, it's particularly long-lasting and it's intense. It's still within the expected geological patterns. Okay, it's still within the geological patterns around Mount Vesuvius in that area. The possibility of a hydrothermal explosion in the Solfatara crater, the crater area that you see right here. Okay, the possibility of hydrothermal explosion in that crater remains, but predicting its timing is difficult. Italian authorities continue to monitor the situation closely. If Vesuvius were to erupt today, the scale of devastation would depend on several factors, including the size of the eruption, the length of the eruption, the wind direction, and the response team of emergency services. Even a moderate eruption can significantly impact Naples and the surrounding areas, while a large-scale eruption could have consequences far-reaching across Europe and beyond. Now, while the most likely type of explosive eruption at Vesuvius will probably be medium to low energy, as a safety precaution, the Civil Protection Department of Italy has emergency plans that refer to a medium energy eruption scenario. This includes an eruptive column made of gas, eruptive column, okay, the column coming out of the volcano, gas, burning lava clots, lava bombs, ash several kilometers high, the fall of volcanic material including large lava bombs, rocks, molten rock, and ash in the area nearest the volcano, and smaller particles, ashes, and lapilli, which are blown by the wind and can be deposited tens of kilometers away. Okay, how about that? The lava bombs, the ash, and the small lapilli and particles of ash can be blown up to tens of kilometers away. Pyroclastic flows, lava going down the side of the volcano. These pyroclastic flows are superheated avalanches of gas, ash, and volcanic fragments that flow at high speed for several kilometers down the slopes of the volcano. The seismic activity may occur before the eruption, and they may accompany its different stages, damaging buildings already hit by falling ash and lapilli, and the earthquakes that accompany the eruption. Large earthquakes, 5.0 and larger earthquakes. Okay? Even if pyroclastic flows remain limited to the immediate area, volcanic ash could spread across southern Italy and beyond, depending on the wind direction. The effects of heavy ashfall would include roof collapses, structural damage due to the weight of accumulated ash. We saw this over La Palma Island in the Canary Islands several years ago. Severe disruptions to air travel, with airports like Naples International Airport shutting down for days or even weeks. Health hazards. Well, actually, before we get to health hazards, they will shut down the roads of travel as well. You won't be able to go very far at all. Health hazards caused by the fine ash particles, which can lead to respiratory problems and eye irritations or loss of eyesight. Okay? What have I told you about your precautions that you need to take in case of a volcanic eruption? We've talked about this before when we talked about Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens, and even Mount Hood. Volcanic eruption. What do you need to have? glasses. We talked about it also when we had fissures open up on the Big Island of Hawaii. You need to protect yourself with goggles, because those fine ash particles can be blown by the wind and be blown into your eyes. They can blind you. They can hurt your eyesight. Okay? You also need some way to protect your face and your nose and your mouth. You don't want to inhale the fine ash particles. Some of these ash particles contain what they call volcanic glass. Volcanic glass. And if you inhale them through your nose or your mouth, they can cut up your respiratory tract, and they can cause you to be unalive. Take precautions. Wear an N95 mask. Wear goggles. You can wear a bandana over your face to protect your face from any burning particles, because some of those particles may also be superheated. Okay? Health hazards. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. There is also probably going to be water contamination, as volcanic ash can infiltrate reservoirs and drinking water supplies. Okay? That ash contamination could cause higher levels of acid in the water. The ash particles contain levels of acid that can be very harmful to our health. Okay? You have to have very specific decontamination procedures that our communities can use to filter out that ash. Okay? Then they have to make sure that the level of acid that's in the water can be either taken out or filtered. So our drinking water supplies could also be affected. Okay? Now, how about tsunami risk? Let's talk about tsunami risk. Another dangerous possible consequence of a major eruption, either here in Italy or even over in the Pacific Northwest or California or anywhere else. If the volcano is located near a shoreline, if it's near a shoreline or even out at sea, the possible consequence of a major eruption could lead to a tsunami in the Bay of Naples here in Italy. This has happened in past eruptions and could threaten coastal cities and towns, including Sorrento, Amalfi, Amalfi, Positano, as well as other maritime infrastructure, disrupting ports and sea routes in the Mediterranean Sea. Unreal. I don't think many people even thought of this, except maybe the people that live in this area. Campi Flegrei. Okay? It'll disrupt Campi Flegrei as well. This whole area here where people live. High density population. Vesuvius is not the only volcanic threat to Naples. Just west of the city lies Campi Flegrei. So we have two volcanoes, Vesuvius and Campi Flegrei. Highly seismic area with potential for even greater disaster. Unlike Vesuvius, which is a single peak, Campi Flegrei is a giant volcanic system made up of 24 different craters and several active fumaroles. Beyond Italy, guys, guess what? There are other areas, regions in southern Europe that are also experiencing heightened volcanic and seismic activity. We've talked about this before. Mount Etna, for example, just north of Sicily out there in the Mediterranean there. Mount Etna in Sicily has seen lava flows reaching 1,850 meters in altitude. 1,850 meters in altitude. That's huge. That's huge. While Greece's Santorini that we talked about and Amorgos Islands have been shaking for weeks. We've talked about this for a long time now. Greece's Santorini and Amurgos Islands have been shaking for weeks. There is a volcanic system down below the water. Those events may seem connected. These events may seem connected. Scientists are likely looking into this. Okay? They're likely looking into it. I just found out earlier today, those events here in Italy and those events over in eastern Greece, over in the Aegean Sea, may be related, both of them. Incredible. Incredible. Does anybody have any questions about what is going on in Italy? Does anybody have any questions about what is going on in Italy? I want everybody to be aware of what is happening. Okay? I want everybody to be aware of what is happening. Now, I want to talk about emergency situations. On Fridays, yes, I try to give you as much information as I possibly can about what is going to happen in your area today and this weekend. I've already talked about the weather. That is a major situation. We talked about earthquakes. Okay? I've talked about earthquakes all this week. I've given you the information. I want to talk about preparedness information tonight. Preparing for a major incident. Each and every one of us who understands the next disaster attack or lockdown poses a very serious and imminent threat to the safety of all of our family members. Okay? We've been talking about this. We've been seeing it in the news. Okay? If you're one of the Americans or anywhere else in the world who understands about the next disaster, an attack or a lockdown poses serious and imminent threats to the safety of you and your family. Russia, Putin, did not want to sign a contract with the United States until he met with President Trump today. President Trump talked to Putin today. Okay? Why did he not want to sign a ceasefire agreement 2 days ago when he had the opportunity? He said he wanted to talk to President Trump. He wants to give himself more time to attack over there in Ukraine. Okay, he's the one that attacked Ukraine. Ukraine didn't attack Russia. Russia attacked Ukraine. Now we may see a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. But the United States is also moving more equipment over in Ukraine. And the United States is also moving American military into Ukraine to help protect Ukraine and help with the ceasefire. Okay, it's imminent. It's been happening. But something could happen here as well. China has also threatened our safety here in America and around the world. China and Russia have threatened to attack Britain and the Emerald Isles, Ireland, Wales, and Scotland. China doesn't like us. China doesn't like anyone. They want to be a global domination country. So does Russia. These days, a lot of people, including Americans, look down on people like you and me. Patriots who take the threat of the next crisis seriously. And we are all preparing for the inevitable situations. Our neighbors, our family members, often think that we're crazy for stockpiling food, water, and medical supplies ahead of the time of imminent destruction. Yet, each of us knows what happened just 4 years ago during COVID. What happened? A run on toilet paper of all things. Never once did anybody say that COVID led to explosive diarrhea. And yet toilet paper and paper goods disappeared from store shelves. Unreal. Yet you know as well as I do that they're knocking at our doors begging for help when a disaster strikes. Those very people that rid of the stores of paper goods are going to be knocking down our doors for help when the disaster strikes. Yet once mass panic sets in, store shelves will again run bare, and neighbors are going to be fighting each other to get their hands on anything that remains. The difference between what they know on day one and what they know when they discover even my system for survival is literally the difference between life and death. The difference between what they know on day one and what they know when they discover my plan, my own system for survival, your system for survival. This can literally be the difference between life and death for most people. That's why we need to be very careful with what we're doing. Yes, I tell everybody what they need to do. I tell people what they need to have, preparedness-wise. I'm hoping that most people will do it. But yes, there will be people that watch our program and they see people knowing that they're going to be prepared. And those people are not going to do much of anything. I'm hoping that will change. Now, we need to understand the psychology of the masses in a crisis situation. We don't often talk about this, but I want to talk about it tonight. We need to understand the psychology of the masses in a crisis situation and how you and I can use this knowledge to guarantee us that we will never get sucked into the riot mentality that ends lives. And we've seen the riot mentality lately with the stupid Democrat Party. They're out calling for wars and destruction of the people. Stupid idiots. Yesterday we saw over 150 people that clawed their way into the Trump building in Manhattan, New York. 150 people took over the Trump building in New York. They went to jail. They went to jail, and not just that. The Secret Service is protecting Trump's building over in Manhattan, New York, because the president has a house there. So if you attack the president's home, you're going to federal penitentiary. You will be going to a federal penitentiary. Unreal. There are other places like different Tesla factories, the Tesla car dealerships that are being firebombed. Well, guess what? I just heard our Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, tell everybody that the FBI is investigating those bombings, those riotous behavior, as domestic terrorism. So those people that caused the firebombs over at the Tesla dealerships and the Teslas that were destroyed by fire, once those people are found, they will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of federal law. And yes, you will be found. You will be found. 95% of the people that die in the first 3 days of a crisis die for only one reason. And I'm going to tell you what that is. And I want to tell you how to guarantee that it will never take you down. You learn that a brain-dead, simple, life-saving trick can make sure you have enough water to drink, even if your supply were to vanish overnight. I'm going to show you today and in the next week. The best way to stay warm if you lost power and heat, even if it's in the dead of winter. You're going to see how easy it is to have delicious home-cooked hot meals, even if the power and the gas have been off for weeks. What do I say that for? Just like when Hurricane Helene went through North Carolina last year. Carol and I used our barbecue grill, not to barbecue, but we used our barbecue grill to heat our food up. A simple camp stove or a barbecue grill can mean whether we live or die, whether we have hot meals or not. I'm also going to show you everything you need to know about guns, nugs, to keep your family safe, and completely eliminate the risk of owning one should you choose to bear arms or not. Any crisis situation, knowledge equates to tremendous power. Any crisis situation, knowledge equates to tremendous power. Alive after a crisis that I'm going to talk about is going to give you all the knowledge that you're going to need to skillfully navigate your way through any crisis situation. You're going to know more than all the families in your block combined. We've given you more knowledge over the past 6 years that we've been on the air. Most other people have. So you're already one step above everybody else. And imagine this. Imagine what you're going to be able to command. Pretty much anything you need. Whether it's weapons, food, water, shelter, you name it. You're going to be able to get it. Because we have already given you knowledge that you need to have. We have given you knowledge that you need to have, and we're going to continue that. Now, I'm going to teach you how to prepare for any disaster, any one, before it happens, and how you are going to survive it when it does happen. Okay? This next week, I'm going to teach you which 7 items you must go out and buy immediately. I'm going to teach you which 7 items that you need to go out and purchase immediately. Those 7 items can save your life. In a crisis, the only thing you and your family can rely on is who? Yourself. The only thing you and your family can rely on is yourself. Nobody else. Being prepared can save your life. Being prepared sets out specific action points. Being prepared sets out specific action points to get prepared for any kind of emergency situation. This information that we're going to give you this week, I'm going to deliver with concise topics so that preparing for any kind of emergency does not overwhelm anyone. I don't want this information to overwhelm anyone. It's simple. It's simple. Most people without guidance can experience analysis paralysis. Imagine analysis paralysis. Not going to be able to handle it, are you? Because you're so overwhelmed with either grief or the emergency of the situation that you're not going to be able to take any action at all due to your feeling of being overwhelmed. That is the last thing I want to have happen to you. The bite-sized action steps that I'm going to give you, I'm going to give you so you can get started and build on a solid foundation of preparedness. This is going to make it really very easy in a very organized manner. What I'm going to share with you this week is going to take away all the confusion and the negative action that you might see. And it will get each and every one of us on our way to be able to be a fully prepared person, a fully prepared community, prepared for any eventuality. Can you imagine being prepared for any eventuality? Guess what? I'm going to share that information for you. Ann Pickering says, yes, I lost you, but okay, now I hope. Okay? Oh, she lost her signal. She's back here, I'm glad. Thank you, Ann, I appreciate that. Now, what I'm looking for all of you, I'm looking for your best interest. I'm looking out for your best interest. Which, when I do that, is also going to allow me to look after my own family. Making sure that you have this information is going to allow me to look after my own family. That's important, isn't it? It's important for you and your family, and it's important for mine. Carol and I have carefully prepared many things for eventuality, like we may have occurring. I want to be able to give you that information as well. It's important, isn't it? I want you to have that information more than anything else. Okay? More than anything else. You don't need to be in a situation where you don't have anything to rely on, where you don't have anything, period, and you're wondering, what am I going to do? This is the last thing that I want to have happen. I want you to know what's going on. More than anything, I want you to have the latest information. And if you don't have it, you need to get it. And this week, I'm going to give you that information. Okay? I'm prepared, and I am committed to make sure you have this information. I think it's important. It's very important. Now, what are some of the things that you are scared of? What are some of the things you're scared of? Some of the things you might be worried about. Let's talk about that right now. What are some of the things you're worried about? Anybody have any ideas? Don Patoga's here, one of my dearest friends again. He's one of our mods here on this program. On the chat, he just asked a question. Those who wish to go to war have never fought in one and have little clue what they wish for. I totally agree. I completely agree. Robin Moore says she worries about earthquakes and tsunamis. Why do you think we just gave you information about Campi Flegrei? Why do you think we've been talking about the eruption of Mount Rainier and the eruption of Mount St. Helens and other volcanoes around the world? That's because we want you to know what's going on, number one. Number two, we want you to prepare for it. Linda Moses says she's worried about no electricity. What have we talked about when it comes to electricity? We've been asking everyone for years now to make sure you have backup batteries. Batteries for your flashlights. Batteries to power your radios. And I have one here. I've showed you this before. This little device right here. Okay? This can charge up to 2 cell phones at a time, and maybe even up to 3 different charges. During Hurricane Helene, Carol and I kept our phone charged with this device at least 3 times. And then I'd always put it out in the sun to get recharged. Okay? This can do it. This is from 4 Patriots. I bought this years ago from Four Patriots. No, I got it from Four Patriots. Okay? This can help you. And there are other companies out there that have these backup batteries that are solar powered. You need to seriously think about getting that. That can help you. Carol and I also have batteries here, solar powered batteries. How do we do that? Because we have solar panels hooked up to these batteries that keep these batteries charged 24/7. Okay? You need to think about electricity. Carol and I have a supply of batteries here for flashlights, radios, and other things we have here. You need to do that as well. Okay? This is serious. This is serious. I want you to prepare, and I want you to prepare immediately, because things are only going to get worse. Okay? Don says, remember, 1 is none, 2 is 1, and is better. Okay? 1 is none, 2 is 1, and more than that are better. Backup, backup, backup. Have resiliency, meaning you have a backup to a backup to a backup. Food-wise. I'm talking food. You have your canned food in front of you. When you use something, you back it up with a spare one. Carol and I have food at least 3 to 4 deep. Okay? We use what's in front of us that is the oldest product. Then we use what's behind that, etc., etc. And then when we use it, we replenish it. Okay? This is important. This is important. Now, what other things bother you? What other things keep you up at night? Or what other things overwhelm you when it comes to preparedness? When it comes to saving your life or your family's lives? Okay? Ann Pickering says she's 63 this year and she doesn't need one. Haha. Yeah, you do, Ann. Yes, you do. Now, you might laugh, but I have gone back to the story of 3 little pigs before. Why is that? Why do you think I've talked about 3 little pigs before? Why? Why do you think I've referred to the 3 little pigs story? What did they do? One pig built his house out of grass. And when the big old terrible wolf came by and blew his house down. The smartest little pig built his house out of bricks and concrete. When the big bad wolf came and tried to blow it down, he huffed and he huffed and he huffed. But he couldn't blow it down, could he? That's what I'm talking about. Back up, back up, back up. Build your house on a foundation. Build your house on a foundation. Once you have a house like you do right now, fortify it. Fortify it. Protect it. Make sure nobody can get in. You might have to defend your house and your family and yourself from the worst that citizenry can offer. We've already seen that. When we have Democrat politicians out on the street calling for war, engaging private citizens and saying, you have to go out on the streets and cause chaos. You need to go out on the streets and cause war. They're instigating chaos. They're instigating war. We need to be prepared, because we even have the politicians trying to stir things up. That's a sad day. Linda Moses says most of her kids think preppers are nuts. That's exactly what I've talked about tonight. There are people that think that preppers are crazy. But guess what? We're not crazy. We're not even a little nuts. We may have some nuts stored. Yes, we may have some nuts stored. But guess what? You're one step higher. You're one step further away than everybody else. At least you'll have a chance. At least you'll have a chance. Whereas maybe they won't. Maybe they won't. Now, there was a friend of mine. There was a friend of mine several weeks ago. I sent one of my friends a note about one preparedness mistake to avoid. I was happy to see that many of you have also taken this message to heart over the last 6 years we've been on the air. It's always been a wise choice to take a step back and think about what we're truly prepared for. Recently, I came across another simple way to think about our approach to preparedness. Again, my reference to the Three Little Pigs story. Okay? Years ago, when I was first reading my granddaughter, one of my granddaughters, the story of Three Little Pigs. A bedtime story. A bedtime story that many of our children and even some of us adults have laughed at. A fairy tale. Well, I'm going to give you a hint. The morals of this story have a lot of parallels to the way that people approach preparedness. Okay? I'm going to cut to the chase. The story of the Three Little Pigs I was reading to my granddaughter Leilani. I'm going to break it down. The first two little pigs, since this story is so brief, a lot of people skip past the failure of the two little pigs and go straight to the triumph of the third little pig, just like I did a minute ago. But you have to know exactly where those first two went wrong. After all, how many pigs do you know that can build a house out of hay and sticks? That's pretty self-reliant, basically. It really is. Building a house out of hay, grass, and sticks. If you ask me, that's really reliant. But all kidding aside, they were at least wise enough to build up some kind of protection from the elements. Rebecca, thank you for being here. She was watching the SpaceX NASA blast off. I'm going to watch it later. Last week, not last week, but earlier this week, I tried to show it to you. But I'm glad they finally got off the ground tonight. Anyway, like I said, all kidding aside, at least the two other little pigs were smart enough, wise enough, to build up some kind of protection against the big bad wolf. But not just enough for the big bad wolf. Now, a lot of people can approach this from a different angle, different preparedness exactly. Many people build something sufficient, maybe based on FEMA guidelines. We know what FEMA guidelines have done. We know what FEMA guidelines have done, basically nothing. We've seen FEMA this last year fail, because we had a very stupid, incoherent, dementia-ridden president. And his very people that he supposedly relied on were not sufficient to do the job, or they plain didn't want to do it. They didn't want to spend the money to help anyone. They were taking the money away from FEMA and giving it to other people all around this world. And what do we know now? Elon Musk and his people from Doge have clawed it back to the tune of now over $200 billion that they have clawed back. Okay? FEMA failed, didn't they? Other internet searches have also failed because they have not given you enough information. But this may have been a good start. As we talk tonight about storms and weather events and possible power outages. Yes, we may have possible power outages all over this storm area that we talked about earlier, and other short-term emergencies. But preparing for the big bad wolf. In today's world, you need a preparedness plan. And we've talked about it, haven't we? We need a preparedness plan built out of rock and brick, not hay and sticks. That third pig was wise because he knew that he needed the right materials to keep the big bad wolf out from blowing his house down. The big bad wolf doesn't just represent long-term big emergencies, like a nuclear blast, a cyber attack that hit X this week. Cyber attack coming from where? Ukraine, of all places. Okay? Well, the huffing and puffing is continuing. The big bad wolf has added pressures that all of us are facing and are going to face during a major crisis in our lives. It's going to happen. I've touched on this many times throughout the last 6 years. Okay? And like I said a few minutes ago, you might have some knocking going on at your front door. You could have the extra visitors that are trying to spill into your house, your fortress, wanting spilled food because they don't have any, or they didn't bother preparing, or they ignored the advice to become prepared. And they want us to provide them some sustenance. Sorry. As I've said this before, and actually I said it many times, if we liken this back to the story in Matthew about the young virgins carrying oil, 3 of them had plenty of oil, didn't they? But the other 3 did not. And the 3 that didn't have enough oil in their lamps begged the other 3 virgins for oil so that their lamps might not go out. But when the young virgins knocked at the door, the Savior answered the door, didn't he? And he allowed the 3 virgins that were prepared into the bridegroom, into the wedding. What happened to the 3 virgins that did not have oil? The Savior says, sorry, I don't know you. And the door was closed. That is exactly what I'm going to do if someone comes knocking at my door. Sorry, I don't know you. And the door will close. Or, sorry, I'm not going to answer my door. And I fortified my house to safely withstand anybody that's going to try to force a way in. And I'm asking each one of you to do the same thing. Now, I just noticed that we were told about a 6.0 earthquake in the South Sandwich Islands. The South Sandwich Islands exist at the very southern part of the Atlantic Ocean. The South Sandwich Islands are not occupied, except by seabirds and penguins. The South Sandwich Islands is another subduction area. They have a lot of earthquakes. This earthquake that just happened was a 6.0 earthquake, a very strong earthquake. And yes, they are going to downgrade it. I know they are. They always do. It may be stronger than that. I have not had a chance to check, and I probably won't right now. We don't have to worry about it. That seismic energy is what we're going to have to worry about later, because that energy is going to creep along the South Antarctic Ridge. It's going to creep eastward along the South Antarctic Ridge and go up into the South Atlantic Ocean, up the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. So we are going to see probably either 5.5 to 6.0 earthquakes in the South Mid-Atlantic in the next day or two. And then it's going to go north from there. Okay, it's going to happen. But getting back to the Three Little Pigs story, each one of us may be ready to have extra visitors, or maybe we will repel those visitors. My family, my own family members, are welcome in my home. However, I'm also asking them and instructing them to be prepared. I love my children and grandchildren more than anybody will know. Some of you know. But I'm asking everybody to be prepared. That way, when we come together, we will become even more prepared. We will add to the preparedness of our entire family by being together. Rebecca says they upgraded. That's great. That's happened before. Anyway, our safety is what we're talking about. You could have also a situation in the form of a big bad wolf, of a thief who wants to come to your home to take your emergency supplies. It's going to happen. In a crisis, people can become desperate and dangerous. It's unfortunate but true. With the Democrat Party here in the United States calling for war out in the streets, we're already seeing it here in the U.S., we've seen it abroad as well, all over the world. This is why it's always wise to have a preparedness plan. A preparedness plan built out of bricks, block, concrete, rock. Remember, there is no such thing as being over-prepared. There is no such thing as being over-prepared. I guarantee you, there is no such thing as being over-prepared. Many of us are under-prepared or not prepared enough. I want to ask each one of you now to make sure you're prepared. Do what you can to prepare yourselves and your families, because this is just going to be one more thing. One more thing in your basket. One more thing in your head that you've already done, and you can check this off your list. Fortify your home. Fortify your home against anyone or anything that might try to breach your home. Fortify your home. Fortify your home. Now, I want to talk for another brief few minutes about checklists. Having a preparedness checklist. Okay? I want to talk about the end of the world as we know it. TEOTWAWKI. Teotihuacan. End of the world as we know it. I'm going to just briefly touch on some of my checklists here. It's a rather long checklist. But again, this is Preparedness Friday. I'm here to give you information that could save your life. Don Patogas here in the chat saying, proactively plan, prepare for the possible. What if future event challenges in life? Knowledge and information is power. During any disastrous event, always use logic over emotion. Absolutely true. My preparedness checklist, we've talked about this before. My checklist extends beyond basic survival. It stretches beyond basic survival of the trio of survival items: water, food, and weapons. It's a given. It's very much a given that we need to stock up on water. You cannot go very much longer than 3 days without water. You have to have water. But what other things are you going to need in a survival situation? For those new to emergency preparedness, and I know there are people here, for those people who are new to this idea, you probably feel pretty intimidated. You might feel intimidated sometimes about this, but be advised, I don't want you to feel intimidated. I want you to feel strengthened, because that's what I'm going to try to do here, especially during this coming week. I am committed to doing that this coming week for all of you. I want you to have as much information that you need to learn, just to have a clue. Just to even have a clue. It's not really that hard. From food storage to fire building. Food storage to fire building. Finding your way around your neck of the woods. How about lethal force? The very sheer breadth and depth of this subject may sound and seem bewildering at times, especially if you aren't coming from a lifetime that some of us have been around. Law enforcement. Coming from a lifetime that some of us have taught and others of us have been hard-fought skills to have, and knowledge that some of us have had. We don't want you to feel intimidated or overwhelmed and give up on the prospect of taking full responsibility for all facets of your life. I want you to be prepared. I want you to be able to survive. Not long ago, it wasn't just called preparedness. It was called life. Then we called it preparedness. And other people call it preppers. Like your grandmother, grandfather, great-grandmother, great-grandfather, how they lived. But we're going to help you get a jump start on focusing your efforts and all of your energies. We put together a preparedness checklist of the most essential basic items for beginners. This list contains the most used and important basic survival items that you should have no matter where you live or what kind of disaster that you might be facing down. There is no need to fear. There is absolutely no need to fear. I need to explain something to you. Everyone, including myself, started somewhere. Here at Emergency Management Associates, we are here for you and your family. We are here helping you and preparing you and your family every step of the way. Every step of the way. Promise you. Now, just to give you an idea, you might want to take notes here. I'm going to go over a list of table of contents of what we're talking about. And no, we may not finish this tonight. But again, we're going to be talking about this next week. Write this down. A quick reminder. A quick reminder. Shelter, water, food and cooking, light, clothing, communications, tools, knives, weapons, medical, bug out bag, the BOB, the BOB, non-items checklist, a non-items checklist. The contents of this list are by design very basic. As I said before, no matter where you live or what kind of threat that you might have to face, the following things will be very useful, even possibly mandatory. Even possibly mandatory. But everything we have, everything we talk about, cannot cover every contingency or every nuance that reflects each person's unique situation where you live. But I'm going to give you the basics. I'm going to give you and share with you information to help you. Depending on your specifics, some things and some recommendations may be different. Someone living in an arid desert, for example, would probably place even greater importance on a water supply and water filtration more than anything else. Also keep in mind this. Keep in mind, one of the most basic person's preparedness ideas, starting now, nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. Remember that. Nothing lasts forever. I said it 3 times. What does saying it 3 times mean? It's important. Write this down. Nothing lasts forever. Even sitting on the shelf in a cool, dry house, things may not last forever. Things wear out or things rot away. No matter how consumable or how well we preserve it, it will eventually go bad or spoil on you. The next thing I'm going to briefly talk about are rotating your stock, rotating your food product. Now, this doesn't just apply to food, but rotating other things that you might have. That is, using up the items for daily use before they go bad. Using a first in, first out method. A first in, first out approach. Before you replenish, you're going to prevent your money from going away. Okay? First in, first out. Before replenishing. This will prevent your money from going to waste. If you use something, you replenish it, putting the new item in back of the old. That way, food-wise, you're always eating fresh food. You're always eating fresh food. You're always using the freshest items. For example, if you have some medicines, if you have medicine stashed away for disaster readiness, and it expires or loses effectiveness in 6 months, you would pull that stale bottle of meds aside and use them around your house. And then buy a new bottle to replace the one that you're using. Next time you go to the store, you would purchase a replacement bottle and add that to your survival stash in the back of the other item. That way you have fresh medicine on the shelf. And with that, onto the packing list. Let's talk about a packing list. Number one, we talked about water already. Number one, shelter. You're going to want to have something or some place to protect you. Shelter is probably one of the most important survival considerations after oxygen. One of the most, if not the most important survival consideration ahead or in back of oxygen. You have to have oxygen. That's number one. But exposure can kill you. Exposure can kill you. Rebecca, thank you for being here. Give your grandkid a little hug from Uncle Ron. Appreciate that. And even Aunt Carol. We love you guys. Okay? Shelter being the most important thing that you can have. Exposure can kill you in hours if you're in bad weather. The best thing you can do for yourself is to make sure that you have some essential shelter gear and supplies on hand, even if you plan on writing out your emergency situation. Even if you plan on writing out your situation. Sheltering in place, even better. Sheltering in place is even better because you already have a shelter. Now you just want to fortify it like we talked about in the Three Little Pigs story. Fortify it so the big bad wolf doesn't blow it down. Power outages can damage and knock out all the preparations you have. Power outages can let the outside in. And the ability to create a smaller, more survivable microclimate inside your home is invaluable. Making a survivable microclimate environment inside your home is invaluable. I said that twice. You should get a tent, a good tent, appropriate for the size of your family or your household. A 6.0 hit in Java, Indonesia a little while ago, and they already downgraded to 5.9. Gosh, unreal. Now, I talked about a good tent. How about a heavy-duty tarp? Heavy-duty tarp with a section of rope between two trees even. You throw the tarp over the rope, and then you stake it down to the ground. You have yourself a tent. If you have another tarp, use it as a ground cloth. Okay? Then on the outside of it, make sure you dig a ditch around the outside of it so if it rains, the rainwater will come off your tent, drain down into your ditch you've made, and drain off into the distance, keeping water away from your tent. Okay? So you need to make a tent. You can use a heavy-duty tarp as a ground cloth, even as a sunshade over the top of your tent or over the entrance of your tent. So in case it's raining, you can climb out of your tent outside and you'll still remain dry. You'll have protection from the sun and the wind. Long time ago, years and years ago, Carol and I purchased what they call a pop-up. A pop-up. 4 legs. 4 outer corner legs. And we pop it up and we have wind and sun protection. We can put a table underneath that where we can cook, where we can eat, and have a lot of fun. Okay? It protects us from wind, protects us from the sun, and protects us from the rain, and so much more. Something else you might find to have that would be invaluable to have. A poncho or a rain slicker. Getting wet means you're going to lose body heat. And as you lose body heat, you start shivering. That is a way your body uses to get heat restored back to your body. But if you're outside and you're wet, and there's a little even a breeze, you're going to remain cold. Getting wet when it's cold is often a death sentence. Stay dry with a waterproof outer layer. Carol and I have rain slickers, a top and a bottom, a top and pants to keep us dry. Now that poses a small problem in and of itself. The one I had when I was a police officer had little air holes here in the underarm area to help it breathe. But even that, when it's raining, you develop body heat, you develop body water around your body, don't you? And all of a sudden it becomes very uncomfortable. When you're in a shelter, you might need to take off that rain slicker to maintain your body heat, because you don't want to have your body wet. Stay dry. How about emergency blankets? Those crinkly foil blankets. We've all seen them. Emergency stores have them. Emergency stores online have them, such as Emergency Essentials. Preparedness.com. Those crinkly foil blankets could save your life. It might seem like a joke when you first look at someone surrounded in a foil blanket. NASA used those in space. NASA used those in space to keep the astronauts warm. When the astronauts would lose heat in their space capsules, that happened, such as Apollo 13. Those astronauts were very fortunate to have those space blankets on board the Apollo 13 spacecraft. Okay? It makes you look like a baked potato, but guess what? It works. It works wonders for keeping you warm. Okay? I'd rather look like a baked potato than cold and damp. And those foil blankets almost take up no room. They're light, they may weigh only ounces, but they will keep you warm, and warmth is power. A sleeping bag. A sleeping bag. Carol and I have a group of sleeping bags here. We have more than just one. Why? Because we may have family members that show up, and I want to make sure we have sleeping bags for everyone. In order to get a good night's sleep, especially in a stressful situation, a sleeping bag is the most weight and size efficient method of achieving that. Whatever you pack, you're going to need to cope with the weight and even the most severe weather that you could expect in your area. If you live in California, you probably will get an even lightweight sleeping bag than someone who lives in Alaska, someone that lives in Utah or Idaho, or North Dakota, or Canada. But you don't need to be caught outside not being able to get a good night's sleep. Okay? Don't get caught having a summer weight sleeping bag when you have to wear a heavy-duty blanket and a sleeping bag and maybe more if you're in Alaska or North Dakota. Number 2, water. Water. Water is the next in importance right after the shelter, because dehydration and death by thirst will kill you. And they'll kill you in 3 days or so. And you'll become delirious and incapacitated long before when you cannot get water. So water is very vital to you. Have a ready water drinking supply. Potable water, water to clean with, water to drink, water to cook with. Okay? Might have water drinkable from other sources, such as a life straw. Carol and I have life straws in our 72-hour kits, and live straws in our emergency preparedness kit. Okay? Man-made or otherwise, you need to be able to have water. Okay? Be sure to get water. Pick it up. 1 gallon of drinking water per person per day, at least. And as I've said before, I have always packed at least 3 gallons of water per person per day. That way you're going to be safe. At least 1 gallon of water per person per day if you plan to survive. This amount covers drinking, basic sanitation, with some food prep. But having 3 gallons of water per person per day is a greater thing. Okay? And hotter, drier weather means you're going to need more than that. Water container. Ideally, you're going to want a 55-gallon container, a BPA-free water barrel. But I have 5-gallon water containers here. Yes, we have the ability to have a 50-gallon container outside on a patio. We have 5-gallon containers in our storage here. Okay? 5-gallon containers with seeable lids work very well. Seeable lids work very well. A bathtub basin. You've heard of a bob in a bathtub. Okay? A large bag that is designed to sit in your bathtub that you can fill up with water at the outset of a disaster before the water is cut off. This gives you a massive backup water supply. Water in your hot water heater. Water in your hot water heater. If the outside water has been contaminated, you go to the water heater and shut off the heat. Shut off the heat. Shut off the burner to the water heater. Turn off the tap at the top of the water container. That way, your hot water heater will not get any more water into the hot water tank. That means your hot water tank will have plenty of hot water for you in the event of emergency. Most hot water heaters right now are 25-gallon containers. Some are 50 gallons. That would give you 25 to 50 other gallons of water that you might not normally have. Okay? A good idea, huh? Absolutely is. Rob52, I wanted to call you earlier. I've got so busy with weather things going on. Can I call you later tonight? I would love to talk to you. Appreciate you being here, Rob. God bless you. Water purification tablets. Water purification tablets unscented. Unscented regular formula bleach. Unscented regular formula bleach for cleansing suspect water or biological contaminants. Water filtration devices such as that live straw I talked about a few minutes ago. A Sawyer Mini water purifier. A Sawyer Mini water collection containers with a filter. Thanks, Rob. I appreciate that. Food and cooking. You're going to need food and cooking. Most food people tell you to survive, you need 2,500 calories per day minimum. Food and cooking. During a disaster survival scenario, you're going to need calories for fuel to keep you working well and getting your work done. That and food, especially hot food, is a good food source. It's a huge morale booster as well during rough times. But just starting out preparing, you can easily, painlessly start building your emergency food supply by just adding one item every time you go to the store. One extra item that you can add after going to the store. Okay? Every time you go to the store, don't make an extra trip, but every time you go to the store, buy one extra item. Okay? Something as small as 3 square meals for each person for 3 days will cover you for 90% of things that might happen. 3 square meals per person per day for 3 days will cover you for 90% of things that might happen. But you're going to want more than a 90 or 72-hour supply. You're going to want at least 2,000 to 2,500 calories per person per day for a high activity fueling. You can ration that out to stretch an existing supply, but you're not going to want to go to much less than that. Okay? Grab your grocery list and start adding other things. Now I'm going to stop here. I'm going to go through the grocery list in the next few days. But I want to continue this. You need to have these items. Okay? We're talking about emergency survival training here. Emergency survival training. Okay? Now, as I have been doing for the longest time here, almost every program for years now, I've been trying to give you information to save your life. But also, not just that, I try to end this program with a devotional to try to give you a spiritual uplift. With everything else going on in our lives, we can have some time here for us to make us better, make us feel good. That's what we do at the end of our programs. Now, I've talked about a race that I've been on for many laps throughout my life. I've tried to liken it unto each one of us. As we come to the end of our race, it's essential to acknowledge that every ending is but a new beginning. The laps of our life, while seemingly distant places, may have distant faces as well. And those are interconnected threads and a grand tapestry of experiences, learnings, and transformations. At least that's the way it's been during my life. Through the vast landscapes of survival, stability, and success, each lap of my life has been uniquely shaped, and each lap has been uniquely prepared for me and for each one of us. The sacredness of life is not confined to one segment or phase. It's an ever-present existence, an ever-present essence, a guiding light that illuminates every corner of our journey. Looking back at my life's laps, the race of my life, the journey, I have seen beautiful orchestrated symphonies. Beautifully orchestrated symphonies. My journey are a harmonious blend of professional pursuits, family bonds, personal challenges, and divine guidance. Divine guidance. Now, while I have been talking about my life's journey, I've tried to make this an ode to every soul, every person traversing their unique paths, seeking meaningful, purposeful, and a higher calling. A higher calling. Remember, in the grand scheme of things, our lives are not linear trajectories for cyclical journeys. We move from one lap to the next. And as one chapter concludes, another door opens, another chapter begins. Each phase, each lap of our life, each journey prepares us and hones us for the next, taking us closer and closer to our ultimate sacred goals, the divine. As you and I might reflect on our own journey, on our own lap, I hope you will find the strength to embrace the challenges that we've spoken of, the challenges that you might face in your life, your journey, and the wisdom to integrate your beliefs with your profession, and the grace to recognize it and recognize the divine hand guiding you every step of the way. Recognizing the divine hand guiding every step of the way. In the end, life's journey is about coming full circle, returning to the sacred. We came from heaven, didn't we? We came to this earth with a promise to find Jesus Christ in our lives, to obey His commandments, and to teach our families love, honor, and sacred responsibility. Coming full circle, returning to the sacred, with a heart full of gratitude, heart full of experiences, rich in lessons, rich in blessings, and a spirit ready for the next adventure. I want to thank you for joining me on this journey that I've taken you on during this past week. May your own paths be illuminated with purpose, passion, and sacred significance. You can learn about me more by coming to these programs, because I want to share them with you. I want to share them with you. I want to share my journey with you. I want to share the sacred divine experiences that I've had and where I've gone, because I believe these sacred experiences can help each one of us. Now, in closing, I love each one of you. I keep sharing my life with you because I believe in what we're doing. And I hope that you would take the things we talked about to heart and experience these sacred moments together. Brothers and sisters, I truly believe we are family, interconnected and woven together. I love you. I care about each one of you. I ask the Lord to continue to bless you in all that you do. If you want to help support this program, you can do so by giving us super chats here or going over to our address here at 104 North Green Street, Box 105, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. Send us a letter or a card and include a donation with it. I'm going to be closing our post office box down on the 20th of the month, 6 days from now, because we have not gotten the support to keep it up. But I will give you our address if you ask. That way you will continue to be able to support us and help us and share your life's journey with us. Because Carol and I love you. We care about each one of you. We love getting letters and cards detailing how you are doing, because we want to know that. We care about you. You can also support us by going to the top of our program description right below this video today. In the top of our program description, you'll see how you can join as members of our EMA family here on YouTube. You also see our email address. Below that, you also see our post office box address. Below that, you're going to find 2 PayPal locations and a Venmo location where you can send donations to help keep this program on the air. We'd appreciate that very much. I love you. I truly love each and every one of you. You're my family, and I care very deeply about you and your lives. That's why we're here. Please, folks, be prepared for the storms that are going to happen tonight, tomorrow, and into Sunday. Get prepared. There will be tornadoes, there will be high winds, and if you're in Texas, Missouri, and Arkansas, and Oklahoma, you may see some fires. Some very bad fires being driven by high winds. God bless you. God be with you. Until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Have a good night, everybody. Much love. We'll see you soon. God bless. Good night. Thank you.